What's going on, everybody? It's David Piatek and Dwayne. I got a video for that. Kimball in the house. It's Wednesday, March 11th. We're going to give you guys some updates on what's happening with the VA home loan, what's going on with VA disability. Make sure you guys ask any questions that you have in the comment section. We're here for each other to answer literally anything that you guys have around those two subjects. If it's outside of that, like fashion, I am not good with that. If you guys need a recommendation for shaving your head, Dwayne and I are professionals at that. We can help you with that. But outside of that, we'll table it. So, Dwayne,
Yeah.
how you doing?
Hey, not too bad, not too bad. Just came back off vacation about a little over a week ago. Well, vacation slash business trip out of the country. So, and it was my birthday. So my wife, she surprised me with two of my best friends. I didn't even know they were going to be there. And I go pick up my luggage, and one of my friends started walking up to me. I'm like, "Wait a minute, where you come from? What are you doing here?" So we had a good time, but I had to take care of some business as well. But other than that, I'm just back to playing catch up. You know how it
Well,
is.
that's awesome. Well, happy belated birthday.
Thank you, thank you. I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah. And so, we'll kind of kick it off with you, Dwayne. What's new with the VA disability? I know things always seem to get worse for VA
Yeah,
disability, but
yeah.
what's the word?
I just think they have people like that movie Man in Black. They just now I watched the movie Eagle Eye, and it was like, I didn't know we had a, a basement 36th floor. And it was like, yeah, it's top secret. But anyway, they got people in the basement up in DC just coming up with stuff. And I just recorded a video on this. Stars and Stripes did an article. So I don't want to go too in depth in it, but this is something they had talked about earlier this year, I think, or maybe late last year, about coming up with an AI tool to scan veterans over a million DBQs back to 2010. Um, and that's very problematic for several reasons. But they're trying to detect fraud, and I get it. And I'm all in agreement with that because yeah, there are companies out there that just completing these DBQs to pad their bottom line and really don't care about the veteran. Yeah, I'm sure there is. And I think there will be some fraud detected, but also I think there's going to be some time is going to be some other issues because veterans DBQs may be flagged as fraud and they're not. And then the veteran has to fight that. So I shared a Stars and Stripe article, and I think it had someone that you've done videos with, Jason Cameron.
Yeah.
I can't remember his last name, but they had his picture in there, and I recognized him. It was hard to recognize him, but as soon as I saw the beard, I'm like, "Yeah, that's that guy." But he gave some really good feedback on what veterans should be doing. I'm creating a template and going to share a QR code or that template for veterans just to be a little bit proactive.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it's I know AI I think is cool to use, but I think also yeah, like if it flags it, so purely that it flags it, then you start running into issues. I think is kind of crazy. Definitely should be some manual review. It's like hopefully the IRS doesn't start doing that.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But see, here's the thing. Eventually, it is going to be some manual review. And then what you have to watch out for, if it's a VA employee that doesn't like private DBQs, what do you think is going
Right.
to happen? You know
Right.
what I mean? Are they going to actually follow the VA regulations and, do the due diligence? But I think one of the big issues, David, is some of these examiners are just copying and pasting. And I'm not going to say I get it, but some of this ownership is going to have to fall on the veteran because even in some of my private webinars that I've done, my monthly veteran membership, I tell veterans, when you get that DBQ back, you need to review it top to bottom. Even if you go into some LLM like ChatGPT for DBQ, maybe even a Nexus statement. I got an upcoming video on that. AI is going to give you a bunch of fluff. It's going to sound awesome, but does it pertain to you? If it doesn't, so if an examiner comes up with all this stuff and you be like, oh yeah, this is going to get me service connected, but it doesn't pertain to you and you run into this issue, hey, we told you. But if it doesn't, then hopefully what I'm going to come up with will give you some insight. And again, it's not a guarantee, but you know, VA is playing chess, not checkers.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's a good point on that piece because it's using ChatGPT even for like the home ownership piece. People will send me like, David, hey, ChatGPT said this. Your videos are wrong, and I'll be like, no, I'm like, no,
I'm
I'm like,
sorry.
no, I don't know how to say this nicely, but I'm right, and it's out
Yeah,
of the VA handbook, right? And
yeah,
so, but yeah, and I'm like, this is I don't know what to tell you. Like, and because like sometimes we'll try to use ChatGPT for our own stuff, right? Like, hey,
right.
help me like craft some things together. Like sometimes even when I'm doing videos. But this is why like it's a great outlining tool. And then you're like, wait a second, like this doesn't make sense. You got to remove this, put things that are accurate. So yeah,
It-
that's crazy. But
it-
yeah, AI is kind of even in the military, like they're encouraging us to use AI like all the
oh,
time, right?
yeah.
And I also think that's pretty interesting because sometimes the stuff that comes out, you're like, I don't think this is something that's gonna work.
Right. I've even used it for VA regulations. And
Uh-huh.
I'll ask it a question. It'll say, oh, yeah, do this, this, and this. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. What about this particular 38 CFR? And thinking. And it'll say, oh, you're right. That is the
Right.
correct. And I'm like, so, I use something called massaging the prompt where
Yeah.
it may take me 30 or 40 minutes. I may start with a question and then I'm like, well, no, I don't think it's this, or, do this, and just constantly trying to, nail it down. So it's like me going on there and saying, hey, can you give me a two-word sentence or what they call those when you go into a pickup line that I can put on Beyonce's Instagram that will make her go out on a date with me. It's going to give me something and it's going to sound awesome. But do you really think it's going to work? Probably
Right.
more than no, it's not going to work, right? So yeah, you got to you got to fact check.
That definitely
Yeah.
fact check that. And yeah. And if you guys have questions around that, especially with comes to VA home loans, feel free. You can schedule a call with me and Dwayne with VA disability. So on the VA home loan side, there's actually been some pretty big news in the last week, and actually a viewer from the channel reached out and said, "Hey, David, because that veteran is facing foreclosure." And they're like, hey, and we've been waiting for this partial claims process to kind of come to fruition since last July, I believe. So it's been a hot minute. We're going on, I think, on 8 months right now.
Mhm.
So finally this month, they released some information. If you guys are subscribed to my channel, you'll see I just did a video over the weekend talking about that. It's 30 minutes long, but there's a lot of information, which you need to know, I think, just in general. Because even if you're thinking about buying or you own a home or you know someone that owns a home, life happens, right? And when life happens, at least you know you're out, right? It's just like researching VA disability stuff. You don't want to just like, oh, I just chat GPT that, or I use some AI tool, or I talked to my buddy. My buddy said I can't do it, but in reality, there's some options that exist. So the partial claims program finally got some validity to it, right? It actually there's a draft on the VA's website of how they're proposing that company or lenders look at it, how the VA is going to actually be a second lien holder. And they put some parameters around there. And I think it's good to know yourself as a veteran, because right now there's over 40,000 veterans facing foreclosure.
Whoa.
And then there's still people that are missing payments. So it's a good amount of people, right, that are facing this. Um, and I've done videos on this before where, I'm not a big fan of doing loan modifications, but sometimes you have no choice because either you lose the house or you're going to have to sell the house and then you have a ton of fees backed into that. And that's why it's very important to understand your financial picture, because sometimes you want to sell before it's too late, because at least you save your credit. Then
Mhm.
you cash out the max out of your house. Maybe you have to downgrade or you may have to rent for a while and then you come back to it. Otherwise, it's a snowball effect with credit, right? You become late on the mortgage. Now, all of a sudden, everything else starts to trickle down from there. But with this program, again, I can, when you're talking, I'll find that link. I'll drop it in the comment section so you guys could check it out. But like I said, I have the whole video on my channel right now that goes into it in detail to see, like, yes, I'm actually going to be eligible for it. Or if you know someone else that's facing challenges, to be able to do that. Otherwise, I think the housing market right now, a lot of people are still kind of scared to get into it. But you know what? I did another video on Dwayne about interest rates dropping. Okay.
Okay.
And one of the things that I talked about in there, and I want to share with everybody that's watching, is that people are waiting for rates to drop, right? And I think I did the $420,000 price point, which is kind of the average. And I did the difference between like a 6% interest rate and a 5%, right? Because people are like, at 5, I'm going to jump in. The payment difference was $264. And if you think about $264, and I thought about it in my situation, like, do I spend $264? I don't have to every month. I looked at some subscriptions. I looked at some stuff that I buy, and I'm like, you know what? I could definitely do that. And we see it for a lot of people that they can save money by either not going out, cooking at home, that they can find that money to be able to be a homeowner and then not wait for rates to truly drop, because once rates drop, everybody else gets into the game, right?
Yep.
So it's kind of like I guess like VA disability, where you're on the sidelines, you're like, I'm gonna do it next year. Next year rolls around, you're like, well, you know what? I didn't get this one document ready. I'm gonna wait another year. And then as it goes on, it seems to get worse. Values go up. VA disability gets stricter and stricter. And so if you're in that position, right, I think for the both of us and in both sets of home ownership and VA disability, you don't want to wait. You want to just file, at least file your intent, because it's dual purpose, right? From a home ownership perspective, you have VA disability counts as income to qualify for a home loan. If you have enough disability, you also don't have to pay property taxes in certain areas. With VA disability, it opens up getting health care and not paying for health care. You get to a certain point, like 100%, now your family's covered. Those are big things that change your life.
Huge.
Right?
Huge.
They're huge. And if there's nothing wrong with you, then there's nothing wrong with you. That's great. At least you have the VA home loan, right?
Right.
So,
you know, you had said something earlier about, I think you said either someone that you're working with or you talked to about they're in foreclosure and they're going through the claims process, right? That hear you right? When okay. So veterans, if you are being foreclosed on and have a pending claim, that is considered a financial hardship. And what that means is you have to submit proof. So if you got any documentation from your lender about foreclosure, you can submit that to the VA. I would recommend doing it by quick submit and ask them to flag your VA claim in VBMS as a financial hardship based off of this evidence. Now, what is supposed to happen? You are supposed to go to the front of the line. And that is even though the VA says they reduced the backlog, and I'll explain how I think they did it. Okay. And it wasn't by rating a bunch of claims. You go to the front of the line. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to come back and grant you service connection. That just means you're going to get a decision. You should get a decision a lot faster. So hopefully you do get service connected and you get a $20,000, $30,000 back pay, which I think, David, probably could help you get out of foreclosure depending on how many late payments you have.
Right.
And which your mortgage payment is.
Right. And I want to just point something out to everybody right now. I just learned something that I can take and give to other people. Like I didn't realize that. And I'm not in foreclosure, right? But I own a home. But I know when I talk to other people, now I have that too. I definitely did not know that.
But guess what?
I need to go modify my video right now.
But guess what, David? I got a video on that. Talk about priority. Go to my channel, talk about priority. So if you're 85 years older, you go to the front of the line. If you're a POW or Purple Heart recipient, you go to the front of the line. You have financial hardship, you go to the front of the line. If you have a terminal illness, you go to the front of the line because especially terminally ill, they're trying to get that claim done. Especially if you are trying to get service connected for it,
Right.
because that'll make it easier when it comes for your significant other when it comes to DIC.
Yeah, that is pretty huge. No,
Yeah.
so thank you. Yeah, and totally forgot about that piece. But make sure you guys are dropping questions in the comment section. We'll start answering some of them. Just saying
Uh,
hi to folks.
I see somebody say
So
it literally, so I'm thinking he's making fun of you because you always say that literally.
literally, no, we brought in some new things. So we literally brought in new stuff. So thank
Excuse
you.
me. Listen.
66 Love, thank you.
Yep.
Hello. Yeah, they joined yesterday. We Lourdes and I did a live event about updates to the housing market and lending. So that was a hoot doing that. And I believe this
Okay.
one's for you.
I have a chiropractor that I have been going to since 2009. She ran into some question on the DBQ that she is unsure of. Should I just upload the documents or have her write a letter? Answer the question. Gotta answer the question. Because if it's a pertinent question and it's not answered, that could make that DBQ insufficient. If it's a pertinent question.
So I think it was saying like if they're unsure of the like question itself, still answer it.
Yeah, you find, clarify it. What is the question? I wish they would have put it there because I could have probably
Yeah,
gave
if you throw it in the question, we'll come to it. So just reach out saying hello. Donnell, hello, gentlemen. Hello. Good. Grace always joining us. Thank you.
Yeah, and she's driving, but she's listening. So don't look at your phone,
She's-
Grace.
yes, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Good morning. Working on our first home purchase and I'm scared of buying a house that may lose its value if the market crashes like in 2008. Thank you both for your help. All right, so it's an interesting question, okay? Or I think still people to this day are somewhat scared of the market because homes lose value. Historically, homes have gained value. And I'll leave it with this because home ownership, this is why it's so important to understand your financial picture. If you are comfortable with the payment today and you want to live in this home, just like in 2007 and a half, you bought at the peak of the market. 2008 happens, the market crashes, but you can still make your payments. Fast forward to today, you have a crazy amount of equity in your property. Because even if you bought at the worst time in 2008, you are doing very, very well. Unless you're, I don't know what area you wouldn't have been able to recover from. But home values have far surpassed what they were back in 2008. There is legitimate fear of, not even fear, because there's going to be market corrections throughout time as we go, right? You may see adjustments of a couple percent down to 10% down. Like if you look at historical data, like there will be fluctuations. So I don't think it should be necessarily of being worried about the home value going up, but maybe a concern of maybe employment. That would make, that would be like valid to be like, well, if I lose my job, then I could lose my home. That is true, right? Because you can go foreclosure and things like that. So you just have to be really careful with that part. But again, I really wouldn't be too concerned about the market really adjusting that much. Any thoughts on that, Dwayne?
Yeah, because when I moved to Florida, I bought my house October 2006. And if I would have waited, man, I would have been in because I was looking to buy. So I had a, good job, good annual bonus, some stock options and stuff. But if I would have waited to 2008, I could have picked up a nice house like for almost dirt cheap, right? But I was still making those payments. Now, I was in an area that I thought that was, the builders say, hey, this area is booming, it's gonna grow. I go down there, my son lives in it now. I just ran out to him. They put up a couple of stores. But for the most part, it still looks the same. The post office, they demolished it. It's not there anymore, but I would say I would be looking at the area I'm trying to move.
Right.
Maybe go to the county to see, hey, what plans do they have on road expansion? Is there anything where developers are looking at building townhomes, apartments, other subdivisions? Hey, they're going to put a super center in. They just put one in not too far from me, and I'm like, it's about time. Then they put a couple other little restaurants. I'm like, okay, where's the Chipotle at? I'm like, you know, it's just crazy. But I would be looking at things like that. And if there's nothing, and even though that house is there, I might say, yeah, you might want to go look somewhere else. That's just me.
Yeah, and I think it's different for everyone. Some people are like, I want to live out in the country where there's nobody there. Cool. Other people
Yeah.
are moving to an area, and what you're I think referring to is like man, I forgot what the word, but it's like basically a developing area, right?
Yep.
And you could reach out to the village and be like, hey, what kind of plans do you guys have right now submitted for like parks being built or subdivisions, malls, and things like that? You can ask those questions, right?
Mhm.
And they'll tell you like, yeah, this is all that's proposed to happen. So an up and coming area, right, where they're going to have a lot more infrastructure. They're going to have like these superstores and all this other stuff. So but
But
yeah, Dwayne.
I'm gonna tell you a story real quick. My uncle lives in Berkeley, Illinois, which is right across the interstate from Elmhurst, and he's like right there. So he pulls some comps. So Elmhurst costs living a little bit higher than Berkeley, right? Because smaller township.
Yep.
And they pull some comps right from Elmhurst because it's just that close. And of course, the comps are going to be high. So when you get ready to sell, you can be like, hey, well, try to pull as many from the township over as you can. But it's like that in those townships up around like Chicago suburbs because some of the smaller ones they're close. You
Right.
know, imagine you live in where Jordan's old house was, right? And you're within like a mile of that, but your home is obviously a lot smaller. I don't know how big that uh,
I think
suburb is.
Jordan. I
Where do
know
you
it's
live up
small.
there?
Huh?
Okay, I can't remember where he lived. He was up north, right? Up north.
The North Shore. Yeah, I think it was
Yeah,
in maybe
yeah.
Highland Park
Was that high? Is that
or
high?
Lake Forest,
Okay, somewhere. Yeah,
Winnetka. Yeah, it's up there, somewhere up the North Shore.
the big money.
Big, big money.
Yeah.
Yeah, their houses are humongous. Mr. T ruined it for a lot of people in Lake Bluff because he cut down all the trees. Now there's a strict tree ordinance.
Does he still live there?
No, he doesn't live there anymore. Neighbors were not happy about that.
He went to Dunbar High School on the South Side,
I
31st
didn't
and
know
Kansas,
that.
and that was one of my choice high schools coming out of 8th grade on the South Side to go to. And Muggsy Bogues, he played for them. And I think David Wingate that went to Georgetown and then went
Uh-huh.
to play for Denver. I think he went to school there at the same time as Muggsy Bogues. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, Grace, guys driving. Yep, she's. Is she a truck driver?
I don't know, but she's always driving.
She's always driving. I mean, no matter what time we do these events, we do them at 1 o'clock in the morning. She'd be like, "Sorry, guys, I'm driving."
Maybe I'm laughing so hard, maybe cough.
All right.
Or sitting in the car.
Yeah, they're sitting in the car.
Yeah.
All right. This one's for you.
Oh, one, the VA has your claim. Your claim is has. I'm trying to think of the word. It's associated with a EP end product, and I have a video explaining end products. So once you find out what that end product is, so let's say you're doing a high level review, the initial EP is going to be an EP 030. Okay. So you can call 800-827-1000 and have them look at VBMS and say, hey, is the EP, this particular EP, has it been closed? And so when you file a claim, whether it be for increase or initial claim, or I think supplemental is a EP 020. I don't know if they changed that. But, when you file a claim, call them and say, hey, which EP has been established? I think initial claim is the EP 010 or 100 or something like that. Figure out what that is. So when you get to this point, you're like, wait a minute, I haven't received a decision, but they close it. You could always ask them, when was the decision reached, and is the DBQ in the mail? Because it possibly couldn't have reached you. But if that is the case and you don't have any money in your bank account, that means one or two things. They denied the claim, or if it was for an increase, they confirmed they continue with it, meaning that if you were 10%, you still warrant 10%. It's called CNC. But normally you'll get the back pay before you get the rating decision in the mail.
Awesome. Next one is for me. What is an interest rate reduction refinance loan in regards to my VA home loan? So if you have a VA home loan right now, I'm assuming that you're getting lots and lots of spam calls, spam text messages, and spam mail.
Yep.
I still get it. And I'm on, like, if I did a video on how to get off all these lists, and then make sure you guys get like what's it called? A spam blocker, because all the major cell phone companies offer it for free. And they'll basically stop all these spam calls and text messages. It's kind of, it's been a lifesaver because it's crazy annoying. So one of the big benefits of a VA home loan is if you buy a home with a VA loan, or you refinance into a VA loan and you have a VA loan now, is you can do this interest rate reduction refinance loan. Essentially, they don't need an appraisal. They don't need they need a source of income, but they don't verify how much income you have. So even if you had $1 million home and all you collected was 10% in VA disability, you have a source of income. You would qualify for the refinance. You need to at least save 0.5% on the rate, and you have to recoup closing costs within 36 months. And I'm going to talk about that here in a second. So a lot of people right now have taken advantage of refinancing. I will tell you personally, people that reach out to us, more than half of the people, I tell them, do not refinance. I had a buddy of mine that called me from my unit, actually the other day. He's like, hey, David, look, can you look at this for me? This lender sent me this quote. And I'm like, he saved 1% on his mortgage. Okay. Like $200 a month. But it was $11,000 in fees. And I'm like, so it's going to take you over 40 months to recoup that. And you've already paid on your mortgage for 3 years. Then it may not make sense, right? When we look at them, we always try to, we make it make sense, right? Take the 2 months you don't pay, do a principal reduction. So you're basically netting out zero, right? Like you're saving money day one. So there's ways that you can do it for it to make sense, but I think a lot of people just rush to do these refinances without really kind of looking through it and be like, does it make sense for me or not? Florida is one of the states where they charge transfer taxes on refis.
Yep.
It's very expensive in Florida. So normally if you're going to do it once, or you do a buy down when you buy the house. That's where you're buying down the interest rate. So everyone's situation is a little bit different. And, when you talk with us about these options, because again, if you're entertaining something like that, we're happy to review it for you. And then we'll give you our honest opinion, like, yeah, this ain't worth it, or, hey, this is worth looking into.
I think where a lot of people, they just look at, oh, we can save you $200 a month. And they're like, oh, I don't have to pay the extra $200 a month. So that's $2,400 a year I'm saving. But like you said, you just spent $11,000 in fees, and you only put $2,400 towards that 11 the first year. So you're still losing until, like you said, the 40-month or whatever, however many months to recoup that those fees.
Right. Normally, I'll say, like, just wait until rates drop and just make extra payments to reduce the principal, and then do an odd term refinance, meaning that you don't have to do another 30-year, just do a 27-year mortgage, so then you can save that money. So yeah, there's different ways to dice it, but this is why I think our approach is just very different. Like we're
Yeah.
not a used car salesman try to like, yeah, you got to do this.
So
Like Bugs Bunny in the background.
if I called you, Dave, and I said, "Hey, I got a 9% interest rate, and my lender just called me, and they're going to give me a 1.5 interest rate with closing. They're going to pay half the closing costs, so I only got to come to the table with 5,500, and it's going to cut my bill like $800 a month." Would that make sense?
Yeah, if it's saving you more, a lot of money, yeah. But like that's why we take a look at that because
Right.
we'll see where it stands, right? Again, it's
Yeah.
not for everybody, especially if you have lower priced properties. It almost never makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's
And it,
something that you
even if I use that one company that I'm going to pay
doesn't
another
even talk about that
2,000
one.
for pay for the marketing.
Yeah. Like everyone
That,
keeps thinking that
that,
everything
that's
is free in life.
that's a trigger for
I know it is. Like that's how I get triggered. I'm always making, yeah, I'm like, Jesus. But all right, this one is for you, Dwayne.
I have my initial exam tomorrow. I broke my foot. Yeah, so I did read this in basic. Then while wrist, now I have arthritis in my wrist and toes, spreading pain. Understand, and people, this is what the example I'm about to give is for any condition. If you're going in for an increase, or you're claiming something new, or you were previously denied, you're coming back in. This question should have been asked before you even filed a claim, because you want to know the condition that obviously you're going for. So we got what? Foot and toes. I want to look at that diagnostic code criteria for the foot and toes. So if it's from breaking your foot, then you look up that diagnostic code, the same thing for toes, and see, do you meet the 0% criteria? Do you meet the 10? Do you meet the 30, 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever? And hopefully you have evidence that matches that. But more so, when you go to that CMP exam, if you know you meet the 20% criteria and you have evidence to support it, you're talking about the 20% criteria, not the 0%, because veterans say, "Oh, I got low ball." And then when I start asking questions like this, they're like, "Well, I didn't know that." So you were probably part of the reason why you got low ball. Now, if you just get an examiner, like I had 4 CMP exams, 2 of them were very horrible, and they just flat out lied. And there was nothing I could do about it. I did do something about it, but it took me 4 years to fight those lies that those VA CMP examiners lied on those documents.
That's
Yes.
crazy.
Yes.
That's why you're a fan of just getting your own.
That's when I started getting my own. And people on YouTube, they knock me for it. But I'm like, I'm not gonna, I don't know which examiner I'm gonna get. I have 4 CMP exams, 4 exams done at the VA, because back then you didn't have a choice. There was no DBQs, there was none of this going out, having your private examiner, none of that. You had to go. So when DBQs came out, I made the decision. I'm not going to another CMP exam. I'm getting my own because of that reason I just gave you. So people are like, "Well, you saying I shouldn't?" Hey, it's totally up to you of what you want to do. I know what I did and why, because when I got the exam, I remember being in an appeal, and I'm like, look at how I claimed it, how I worded it. So if I worded I had pain, why would I go to the CMP exam and tell the examiner I didn't have any pain? And the examiner was like, I asked the veteran the question, does he have pain? And he said no. And then here's the crazy thing about that, David. I don't want to go on too long about this. I filed a complaint against this examiner with the director of that particular VA medical center. I got a response. I started getting claims from this examiner. And I know for a fact he wasn't using the goniometer to measure range of motion, but in his CMP exams, he said that he does. But he told me in the exam, "Oh, I don't do it. I just always eyeball it." But you put in the CMP exam that you used it. and you didn't. And that was a flat out lie. And then vets, if you don't know how to fight that or had the stamina to do it, because like I said, it was like maybe 4 or 5 years. I would say about three or four that I had to fight them on because that's all the Raider had. So they're just taking it at face value.
Can you just bring a camera with you and be like, "Hey, I'm recording our exam"?
Man,
There's nothing that says you can't, right?
It's nothing says that you can't.
Wow.
Nothing says that you can't.
That'd
The
be
only thing they
interesting.
say you don't have any legal rights at a CMP exam. I did a video where I talked
They
about
say
it.
you have no legal rights?
Yeah, like it was weird, but I have a video on it and I'm explaining the reference that talks about it.
Wowza. I think this one's you.
Yeah, 90% more than likely about to file for TIU because of a recent injury and surgery to a service-connected knee causing me to miss months of work. Only thing I can say about IU, Dave, is one of the ways that I saw veterans get reduced the fastest because they don't understand that IU, TDIU, IU, and individual unemployability, whatever you want to call it, it is a claim for increase in these service-connected conditions that you state prevent you from gainful employment. So you need to understand that. I got a couple of videos on it. Just be careful.
So big ups to both of y'all and everyone in the chats. Thank you. This one's
Mhm.
for you.
Man, it said Wayne, a lot of my family members call me Wayne.
I think I did that mistake too when I was first talking with you. Like, yeah, Wayne.
Yeah, it's okay. It doesn't bother me. Been paying attention. Wayne decided to file a new claim, got service connected under 30 days. There it is. Congrats.
Awesome. Keep up the good work. This one is for you.
Can you explain when a condition is deferred in March, then the VA said they received the claim in October? How will the back pay work? I never. I would have to understand why it is deferred. I do have a video talking about what are deferred, so giving some examples. The back pay is going to be paid out based off the effective date. So if you had the intent to file, if you got denied, you did a supplemental claim, you filed a supplemental claim within 1 year of the notification of the initial denial, then you get approved. It's going to be based off the effective date. And I got a video explaining effective dates. Thus the name. Got the video for that.
You?
And in fairness, depending poke the bear. No. Dave, I've been hearing people talk about this whole poke the bear thing. And if you're 100% permanent total, I just did a video, just uploaded, I think it was a couple of days ago. If you're 100% permanent total and you come in and you file a claim, let's say for tinnitus, is the Raider going to go back? People are saying Raiders will go back and look at everything. That's not true. That is simply not true. Now, let's say you claim, and I talk about this in a bunch of videos, you claim left knee, secondary to right knee, and you're service connected for the right knee. The VA has to look at the right knee because on the DBQ, it asks the examiner for the range of motion. So if you're at 30% for that knee due to a knee replacement that you didn't have, and that DBQ shows it, yes, they're going to call a CUE. And if that 30% you get denied for the left knee and that 30% knocks you out of the 95% criteria, you're going to use it. So these are things I'm telling veterans, I'm talking about trying to educate them. If you know that, and that 30% has been there for 10, 15 years, and you want that left knee for whatever reason, I will probably wait until 20 years because at that point it's protected. The only way they can reduce it at that point is fraud, not based off of their mistake. And so these are things that I'm educating people on. So, you're like, what? I really want that left knee. I don't know why you would, but at this, I can see if it was diabetes and you're about to, pass away from diabetes and you're a Vietnam vet, you're exposed to Agent Orange. I get it in a case like that. But an example I just gave, if you got 19 years on that right knee and and veterans know, because I did a claim one time where we gave a veteran a year of paragraph 30 for a knee replacement. In the rating decision, it stated 30% for knee replacement. That knew they never had a knee replacement. They come in 8, 9 years later, file a claim, left knee, secondary to right knee. That's why I use that example. And guess what I had to do? I had to sever service connection for the knee replacement, and then turn around and do a proposal to reduce from 30 to 10. Now, let's say the veteran would have waited 20 years, like the example I gave, and I got that. I can't touch that 30%.
Wow.
Even though, because it's our fault. It's not fraud. The only way they can do it, so it's different things that when you rate, you understand. This is still on the books today. You just got to understand. You got to understand, like the 5-year rule. If you're going in for an increase with PTSD and you had 70%, not a lot of people have 100% for a single 100% for a mental condition. And that 70% has been in effect for 4 years and 11 months. Why file a claim? Wait 2 months and then file it. Because if you do go to that CMP exam and it shows improvement, they can't reduce it. They need 2 CMP exams to reduce it. But if you do it under 5 years and it shows improvement, then they have to reduce you. They have to do a proposal to reduce if it changes your overall percentage. If it doesn't change your overall percentage, they can go ahead and just reduce it. I know that was a lot, but that was just the Raider in me just pouring out.
Oh, it's good. But I have a follow-up question to this, because I see this all the time when I look at like the VA disability chart that we're like, spouse, child, and then I see the parent being added.
Mhm.
How do you add a parent as a dependent? And
Right.
what does that even mean? Can you answer that?
If your parent is living with you, like you're taking care
Okay.
of your parent, like you're dependent. And here's the thing, Don, I'm about to drop a huge nugget. RVSRs do ratings to propose to reduce. Okay. VSRs add dependents, even parents. Raters don't add dependents. So VSRs don't rate and raters don't add dependents. So the VSR is not even looking at what your service connected for.
So is it literally just your parents living with you? Even if they make their own income, you still can add them?
It's still some other requirements that need to be met. Yeah.
For you.
Hello, sir. 62 and 100% PNT. Congrats. 5 years now. Have a helpless child who meets all the qualities. Will I just talked about it. Just now, in this case, Raiders do take issue with helpless child. Okay. And if you want more information on helpless child, I do have a video on it. I suggest you watch it because a lot of people think they meet the criteria and they don't. Okay. If I was doing a claim for helpless child, why would I go back and look at everything your service connected for? Now, I might look at the previous code sheet just to verify, yep, you're 100% PNT. And there are some people that say, well, you have to go back and look because if there is an error, and which is true, but a lot of Raiders don't do it. If I show you my claims file and I file a claim for helpless child, do you think somebody's going to go back and look at all that? Probably not. I'm 70% service connected for mental health and alcohol abuse. Should I go for 100% or will that poke the bear? People watch my videos on poking the bear. What I tell people is, if you decide to do it, know what you are doing. Do you meet that criteria for 100%? How long has that 70% been in effect? Stuff like that.
I'd like to buy a house, but I'm not sure. Well, schedule a call with me. At least we can go through to see if it's the right time, right? And that's another thing I want to point out, Dwayne. Sometimes it may seem like the right time, but your financial picture isn't right. Sometimes your financial picture is right, but it's not the right time. Yeah. Right? You have to kind of figure out how that's going to roll because, again, everyone's situation is very different. If you schedule a call with us, I promise you, we don't bite. You can't bite over the phone. We're not going to sell you anything. We're just going to walk you through it. And then if it makes sense, it makes sense. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I promise you. Dwayne, you reached out to me for your own stuff. And you worked with someone else because I said, you know what? Based on what you're trying to do, this company is better. And so it's not like I don't just preach it. Like we actually execute on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So this is a good question. Can I assume a non-VA loan from someone in pre-foreclosure? No. If somebody has a VA home loan, you can assume a VA home loan or an FHA loan. But if they've already missed payments, a loan has to be current in order to assume it. So that do note that is something that is required on it. But like conventional loans, you can't assume those loans. I take it back. I did a video, and this doesn't come up that often, but it can happen. Because I know there's going to be somebody out there. It's like, I watched all of David's videos, and there is something that can happen. So there is, I did a whole video on how to buy foreclosed properties from the VA and from like a HUD. Okay. There's a company out there you can do it with. They give you great rates. It's like zero money down on these loans, even if you're not a veteran. And even if you're a veteran, you can still utilize these programs and not use your benefits, but still get zero financing.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool.
Real quick, Dave, before you take that down, Jeanette Higgins, if you are in my software group, I sent you an email about the 101. I haven't heard from you. If that's the same Jeanette Higgins, it's spelt the same, so I'm just curious.
Awesome. Hello, and thanks for having this chat. Of course, no, we're always here to help. This one's for you.
I have a disability rating when I first bought, but got my rating backdated before I bought.
This one's for me.
Yeah.
All right. If I didn't have a disability rating when I first bought, but got my rating backdated before I bought, if I paid a funding fee wrapped into my mortgage, can that funding fee refunded straight to me? Cash money, yes. What essentially happens is you want to reach out to the VA, and they will then send you literally a check to your house. And I want to just highlight what you said on here, because this is something that we do talk about when we're going through the home buying process. So when veterans are applying for their home loan and like, hey, I'm excited. And I ask them like, hey, have you filed for VA disability? They're like, oh no, I've been putting it off, like we always hear. Like, hey, check out Dwayne's channel, some of the other guys. And they're like, wait a second, I can at least file my intent right now, then buy the house, file afterwards. And if it's backdated prior to me buying, because it should be backdated to your intent to file, then you call the VA and they literally send you a check. Now, we could split it since you didn't know that, and hit the casino, try to double that up. I'm just throwing it out there. But we are against gambling because we are focused on budgeting and credit. Remember that.
Right.
This one is for you.
Yeah, I did read this already. I don't know exactly what you're trying to do, if you're talking about an increase or if you're trying to do individual unemployability and you're trying to get 100%. So if you go in, obviously TDIU, like I stated earlier, is a claim for increase for the service-connected conditions, in this case, mental health. If you're trying to do IU, if they come back and say you still should warrant 70%, or you now warrant 50%, if it's been in effect for 20 years, they're just going to see it confirmed and continue. But again, Dave, like I always tell people, when I rated things I think we're a little bit different mindset wise than most raters today. And I'm just basing it off of rating decisions that I've seen from veterans. So you have to take that factor into consideration as well. But the 38 CFR, the regulations are the regulations. But we're all human. And I just did a video. I was talking about, do raters, VSRs, DROs, do VA employees disagree when it comes to some VA regulations? And the answer is yes. So depending on what you're trying to do, but if you do decide to move forward, just know what you're doing based on what you want to claim and how you want to claim it.
This one's yours.
Have X-rays, radiology report for one condition, and a podiatrist report. Well, it depends. What percentage do you feel you meet under the diagnostic code for the condition that you are claiming? Okay. And why haven't you submitted? Why didn't you submit those x-rays when you submitted your initial claim? And if you didn't have them, why didn't you submit them as soon as you got them? They were already a record. So when you go to that CMP exam, the examiner should see it. But if it's not 10, 15, 20 pages, if it's just 2 or 3 pages, take it with you and hopefully the examiner reviews it.
This one is yours, but I want to answer it and
Yes.
see if I get it right. If you're at 100% P&T, should you make more claims? And I would say it depends. Because to me, like, this is my opinion. Like, if you're 100% P&T, it's like, do you really need to go file for tinnitus? But if it's something that you know that that you can pass away from, like, hey, a heart condition, something like that, like for reals can happen, right? Like it can cause a heart attack, then potentially going and filing for that. Dwayne, what do you think?
Yeah, you're spot on because, and you use a perfect example, ischemic heart disease, which is a cardiovascular, which is a heart condition. And let's say it's a Vietnam vet and he's service connected for prostate cancer. Boots on ground has already been determined. So that's easy. You just need a DBQ, which shows a current diagnosis. The development has already been done. You get 10%, I think it's 30 or 60, and you pass away, it's a service-connected condition. It is a lot easier for your spouse to get DIC, opposed to everything else that you're service-connected for, you don't pass away. It just helps cut through the red tape. But at the end of the day, I tell veterans, it's up to them, but just know what you are doing. And hopefully, like we talked about earlier, when I was talking about the DBQ fraud, I get it, veterans, you want this money, it's tax-free, you're starting out, or you're going back in, make sure you do it just do it the right way. You may have to fight with them, but just do it the right way.
My son is looking to purchase a home as a disabled vet. What can I do to help with that, if anything? You can have him schedule a call with me and I can walk him through all his different options, because that's going to be the biggest. When you're starting off the home journey, just like with VA disability, it's great to have a baseline, right? Of, hey, this is where I'm at. These are the options that exist, because then it starts to let you formulate your thoughts around, okay, now that I know I can do this, which way should I go, right? So that's one of the positive pieces. Is there any grants or loans to fix your home bathroom? Good question. I don't know of any specific like grants out there that do this, but there are organizations like Habitat for Humanity that will help veterans. There's places that will help with like reduced costs on roof replacements for veterans.
The VA has one.
Who is it?
VA has one. But
yeah, there's a lot of them.
You got to qualify. If you ever heard of I think it's the HISA grant. So if you have a service-connected condition where they come in and like make it wheelchair accessible, that's on the VHA. You also can apply for special SHA, special home,
especially adapted housing grant.
Yeah, special housing adaptation. There's another one. You just said it. Yeah. But there's certain, if you're trying to get it, based on a service-connected condition, then you have to meet criteria. But they're just not going to give you a grant because, hey, you're a great veteran and here you go.
No. Yeah, there's definitely criteria to that. And I did a video on that because there's a lot of confusion around those specially adapted housing grants. Does the VA offer mortgage protection or insurance in the event a member passes? Great question, actually. So essentially, no, but there are private companies that will offer it. Essentially, like what we're saying is that you have to protect like your mortgage. In the event something happens to you, you pass away, and let's say you're the breadwinner. Now you have this $400,000 mortgage, and now your family has to pay for that. There's special type of mortgage insurance that it's like a life mortgage insurance policy you can get. So if something happens to you, the mortgage gets paid off. But you can also get a life insurance policy, and I'm not by any means a insurance person licensed to do it. I just have insurance myself, right? You can get life insurance policy to help cover that, but normally it's like for an X period of time, or you put money into it. But I would recommend reaching out to a financial advisor if you guys have any questions on that.
Yeah.
All right. It looks like batches of questions came in for me, and then for you, and then for me. All right. So,
Yeah.
hey, David, I'm using my VA loan and use 60,000 of my entitlement. Does this mean that I have over 500,000 of eligibility that I can buy another home with the new rules in play? Thanks. So essentially, if you use 60,000 of your entitlement, that means you bought a house for 240,000. The current single family loan limit across the country is $832,750. So you technically have $592,750 left to use to buy another VA home loan with zero money down. In fact, if you bought two homes for $296,000 a piece each, you could have two more VA home loans with zero money down. So yeah, that definitely applies. Again, if you have questions on that, I'm happy to talk with you.
TBI examiner denied service connection due to no STR diagnosis. Currently diagnosed by TBI polytrauma team with residuals. Neurology quotes TBI for migraines, but his statement from witness is first thing you got to do, and this is for any condition, if you had a CMP exam, I'm asking what was the doctor's or examiner's, the CMP examiner's rationale for providing a negative opinion. When I rated David, I would always put that rationale for that negative opinion because I want the veteran to know I'm not saying no, but this is why the examiner is saying no. And then you have to build your game plan from there. So also I have a video on CUEs. A lot of people ask me, oh, I got this. Is that a CUE? CUEs are very difficult because the burden of proof is on the veteran or stands with the veteran. What that means, Grace, is if if the vet has hypertension or another cardiovascular condition that is due to the kidney, what that DBQ is saying for that examiner to complete those DBQs because they can grant those secondary, but not just, hey, you have a diagnosis for hypertension, but it's hypertension due to the kidney disease. And I've seen that too.
He's got a follow on.
Yeah. So same thing, just again, Grace, if the veteran has hypertension or any of the conditions listed on that kidney DBQ, the examiner, what they're saying, and it should state that at the top, Grace, or any of these secondary, then if so, complete these additional DBQs. So if the examiner thinks they are on secondary, complete those DBQs, and I would just throw a nexus statement in there, have them do a nexus statement. And I got a video coming up where I had AI create a nexus for me. And it took like 45, 50 minutes for AI to create this nexus statement. But yeah, I got upcoming video on that.
That's cool. This one, so can you briefly explain chapter 35, Survivor Independent Education Assistance?
Yep, I got a video.
I was going to say, I got a video on that.
So, because Dave talked about a little bit of it, tax benefits in certain states, the survivors, dependents are eligible for Chapter 35 educational benefits, meaning your kid goes to college. The federal government play a monthly stipend based off the number of credit hours they're taking. And depending on the state that you live in, I don't know about Illinois, Dave, but here in Florida, I was about to say Kentucky, Illinois, Florida, they will pay for the tuition from certain schools. I'm thinking about Kentucky now. I'm thinking I'm living back in Illinois.
They do for 100% PNT. It's like the veteran gets 4 years, the spouse gets 4 years, and all kids get 4 years to a state school. But there's a time limit for spouses. It's like 10 years from the time you get your disability that they have to take to school. Yeah. So, But
And
there's so many benefits.
right. And I tell vets this because I get asked these questions often. And sometimes I'll be doing a live by myself and I'll get asked, uh, VA home loan. And I'm like, have you reached out to David? Have you subscribed to his YouTube channel? I have almost 900 videos on my channel. And I tell people, just watch one video a day. If you're driving, put it on and just listen to it. And the same with your channel, because it's a lot of times we'll be answering a lot of um, the same questions, and this is free information. Dave, when did we come up on our 2-year anniversary? I think next month when we went live for 12 hours.
12 hours of
Yeah,
questions.
and that was brutal. Even the prep for that was brutal because we had to get our little boxing.
And my son was born a day before that
Yeah,
event.
yeah, I remember. I remember that. Yeah, yeah. So
Very
it's just
patient wife.
just investing the time to watch these free videos. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get your question answered or coming on the live stream.
Definitely. Grace saying, David, great stream yesterday. That's something we do with the V disability stuff.
Mhm.
Dwayne, do you want to answer a couple more? Are
No, I'm
you
good,
good?
man. I'm good. I got another live tonight at 7 p.m. So,
Okay.
people, if you don't get your VA home loan questions answered, I mean, I don't know. VA compensation.
Well, listen,
Yeah.
everybody, thank you for joining us today. Much appreciated. We do these every single month. Dwayne and I also do a video every month, just kind of highlighting different things that kind of cross both of our worlds. We're always happy to provide as much information out to you guys as possible. Drop comments, drop video ideas, especially on like my stuff. My channel's VA Housing Education. I got the shirt on and I dropped it in the comments section because somebody was asking. So you guys have a phenomenal day.
Hold on
And
one second, Dave. Hold on one
you got
second.
one thing?
Somebody asked me, Dwayne, where are your videos? Let me drop my link real
Drop your
quick.
link in there.
I got so many windows open, man. It's super crazy. I'm like, let me find my link.
It's in the description. I think
Is
in
it?
both of our YouTube channels, you'll see in the video we're linked together.
Okay, here we go, people. I'm putting a link to my channel in the description. I mean, I'm saying description section. And a comment. I'm all over the place today, man. I don't know what's going
It's
on.
all good. It's all good. But
Did
yeah, you guys
it
have
pop
that
up
on
yet?
there.
Yeah, there it is. So, yep, there it is. So, whoever asked that question, I can't remember where my video's at. They're all on my YouTube channel.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, thanks again, everyone, for joining us, taking time out of your day today. And we'll catch you guys on the next live stream.